Justin TV. In the beginning, it was just a crazy idea that I had, and I was going to stream my life to the internet 24/7, no breaks. You're going to watch me sleeping in the bathroom, taking a shower, whatever it was, right? That was the idea was if you really it was kind of like social media before there was social media, because this was back in 2006 when we started the company. It's like if if you broadcast one person to the internet and people watch, they're gonna find something interesting in there. And long story short, I recruited three co-founders, Michael, Emmett, and Kyle, and we set to work on this. We built all the hardware to create the streaming setup. There was no Instagram Live or YouTube Live at the time. And we launched the show in 2007, March 19th, 2007. We launched the show to the internet, and people came, like all these people from all around the world showed up, and they were like, "Why is this crazy guy streaming his life?" And mostly they came in, they were like immediately left because they're like, "This guy's fucking boring," right? They were watching me do the things I just told you, right? Like I'm like taking a shower or sleeping or like on my computer programming, and they're like, this content sucks. We weren't content creators. We were four engineers, right? Four nerds. And so um, very quickly they were like, your content sucks. And so then they actually started pranking us, and they would call the cops on us and order pizza just to like try to spice it up. They'd like order pizzas to our house and all sorts of terrible things. We were like the first victims of internet abuse. And then after that, they were like, okay, why don't you like create some interesting content, or you should let other people stream. Like we had all these people who came to us and said, I want to stream my bike race, or I want to stream a talk show, or whatever it is. Okay, how are you doing this? So the light bulb went off, and we said, hey, let's make Justin TV a platform for all live video on the internet. Anyone can create their own live video, and that's what we did. And we built and scaled that platform. We launched it that year, and for the next 3 years, we just continued scaling and scaling and scaling. And it became a pretty big website. We ended up raising $7 million from different venture funds, and we had like 25 employees. And there's people streaming, hundreds of thousands of streams a year, and it was like millions of viewers. It was top 250 website in the world. It's like, and then around 2010, everything changed because the traffic had grown and grown and grown, and it started falling. It started tapering off. And we're like, well, if something's not growing on the internet, we need to like do something different because the internet's growing, and so we're shrinking relatively, right? And if this is
That's
a bad
interesting.
sign. Yeah, if you're in a growth space and you're not growing, that's a real bad sign, right? And so we said, what can we do next? And we all got together as founders, the four founders, in this like really shitty conference room in the back of our office, and we said we would like start debating different ideas. And one of the ideas was from my co-founder, Emmett, and he said, StarCraft 2 had just come out. He loved watching the StarCraft content. And he's like, I just want to watch video games on our site. And there were a couple of people who were streaming video games. He's like, this could be a big thing. And the rest of us were kind of like, what? Video games? Is this like, is this really ever going to be mainstream? I don't know. And so Emmett was really insistent though. And so we had this other idea for a mobile app, like kind of a video mobile app that's kind of like TikTok is now, but this is 8 years before, 10 years before, 10 years ago. And so we had these two ideas, like a video game, a streaming site, and a mobile app for online videos. And we couldn't decide. So we said, okay, we're going to just incubate both of these ideas and try and see which one works in the most like, that's not a great way to run a startup, but we were very unfocused. And so we just said, we'll do these both ideas. And so we had a team around video games, and we had a team around the mobile app. The mobile app, long story short, we worked on it, we launched it, and it just didn't grow. So we decided, okay, we're going to get rid of that. We turned it into a different company. We like kind of spun it off into its own new company. And my co-founder Michael took that and ran with it. With the video games, my co-founder Emmett was the one who's like really in love with gaming. So he became the kind of leader of that team internally, and we just started working on it. And eventually it was like part of the Justin TV site at first, and it grew and grew and grew. And eventually he was like, okay, let's make it our own site, right? Like its own independent site. And so um, we were going to call it Zarth, Xarth, Zarth.com. But at the last moment, Emmett was like, that name fucking sucks. Like, I have this better name. We're going to call it Twitch.tv. And so that was kind of the birth of this idea of Twitch internally. And with Twitch, the real secret was we just went to all the gamers and we said, hey, what's it going to take for you to stream on Twitch instead of whatever you're doing right now? And they said, well, mostly they wanted two things. They wanted love. They wanted more followers. They wanted more viewers. That's what creators want. They want more, to spread it. spread more broadly. And then they wanted money. They wanted to be able to do it as their full-time job. And it wasn't like that they needed a lot of money. Like before we had tried to figure out, oh, could we buy sports rights for Justin TV or anything like that? That was always like hundreds of thousands of millions of dollars. But these guys who wanted to be gaming broadcasters, they wanted like literally $100. Like if they could make $100 a month or like, $50 a month, that would be like non-trivial to them, right? Because some of these guys, there were guys who were like amazing streamers who were really popular online, but they were also working at like Burger King or Walmart, as their day job, or GameStop or something like that. And so we started helping them make money, and we started helping them get more followers. And before we knew it, we had this snowball of like more and more broadcasters coming to the site, and they really knew Twitch as a community that supported broadcasters. And so, even to this day, if you look at how people, respond, like how kind of YouTube community treats YouTube versus like the Twitch community treats Twitch, like the broadcasters know that Twitch like has their back, and so that was kind of how it started. And so it grew. After that, it was, the story gets more boring, kind of grew and grew and grew. And 3 years later, we sold it to Amazon for $970 million. And that was the 8-year journey.
So what do you think the takeaways for other people looking at, growing successful companies are from that experience? Like there's some I heard, which was, kind of look at what's one you're interested in, which Emmett was interested in games, but two, like what's working, right? So it's something like watching Justin wasn't working, but maybe if we open it up for other people, it was working. I guess.
Yeah.
Well,
Number one is like talk to your customers, right? Everything we learned. Yeah, I know. It sounds counterintuitive, but like everything we learned was like from directly talking to our customers. The first pivot to opening it up as a platform was from talking to our customers. The second pivot to open it to do gaming was from talking to our customers, and that's what the only thing that made it work. Was really understanding what our customers needed. The second thing was like if you're growing into a space, like I think oftentimes people are like, is this company big enough? I fell into that trap. Like, is this space big enough? Is it going to be a big company? It's like, I think the most important thing is to make sure that a bunch of people really fucking love you and love your product. And almost any company can be a billion-dollar company in the internet era because there is a ton of people who like anything, right? Like it could be basketball cards, right? It could be Pokemon cards. It could be like watching people play video games on the internet. Like there's so many people in the world that you can make a pretty big company on the internet doing almost anything. And I think like the more important thing is that you have like that core group of users who really love you. And then the third thing is probably more tactical, which is just companies are bought, not sold. Like you can't go. We had tried to sell Justin TV multiple times and shopped it around and tried to get people to buy, but like nobody was interested because it wasn't. We were probably smelled desperate, right? We looked desperate, smelled desperate. In this case, like when we did sell the company, it was much more because like we had built something that was really valuable that had a lot of user attention, and then people started coming in and trying to buy the company.
By the way, if you like videos like this, let me know in the comments below, as well as subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss another juicy business video. I love you. I'll see you out there.